Mr. Kowalski.
Hi, Mrs. Madsen.
Oh.
Bad news, Mrs. Madsen?
Not really, Mr. Kowalski. They've almost finished that new wing on the high school, and I can't believe the property tax notice we just got to help pay for it.
I got the same property tax hike as you did. I don't have any kids. I don't get any benefits out of these schools. Doesn't seem fair. When I was mayor, I went out of my way to see that the property taxes would stay low.
Now what? That's better.
Mom, it's no fair. I've been bussing tables all day, and Jules is playing computer games.
Well, Jules doesn't have a term paper due Monday morning. Besides, I know the spring break party's at school tonight, so you better get cracking. I don't want you finishing this paper Sunday at midnight like last time.
Okay. If I finish, I can still borrow the car, right?
Right. What's the paper on?
It's on taxation. What makes taxes fair? I don't have a clue.
Story of your life, Connor.
Beat it, Pest. Mom, she's got those cameras on again.
I think I have some information you can use on your paper.
You do? I'll be up in a minute.
Connor's okay for an older brother who hogs the car and the phone and the bathroom. Of course, from his point of view, I'm just a pain-in-the-neck kid sister. But from my point of view, I'm your typical extraordinary human being. I think that's Lynette. We're supposed to be getting together later to go to the spring break party ourselves. But it looks like something's wrong. Hey, Lynette, what's up?
Oh, major problema, Jules. We're not going tonight unless we find somebody else with a car.
What happened?
I put a little bitty scratch in my dad's car. Now it's off limits for a month. Do you think that's fair?
No way. You hardly ever get to use the car at all.
Of course, my dad says it is fair because I don't pay for it at all.
Sound familiar? Don't worry, I have an idea.
Can I come in?
Sure. I'm in my room.
Okay, what do you know about taxes?
Not so fast. I'll make you a deal.
I knew it. All right, what is it?
I have something you want. Some research material for your paper. And you have something I want.
Not the car.
You can ride with Dana. Besides, you won't get to go anyway if your paper's not done.
You don't know anything about what makes taxes fair.
You'll never know if you don't give me a chance.
Okay, you're on. What's this for?
I'm just doing the research, Noodle Brain. You're doing the paper.
Hi, Connor. Julia, what are you doing? We've got a crisis on our hands.
Relax. Everything's under control.
She always says that.
Remember that report about taxes I did for Mr. Williams last month?
This has something to do with us getting a car so we can go to the party tonight?
Connor has decided to cooperate. The car keys for our help. Found it. Okay, Connor. Ready to take notes?
This better be good.
So what's the title of your paper?
Taxes, what is fair?
Who cares?
That's what I say.
No, Connor. I mean, who cares about fairness? Who's affected?
We're all affected, right? Everybody who pays taxes.
And everybody who benefits from what gets done with the taxes, I guess.
So we're talking about taxes that help pay for things like our roads, our schools, our courts, and armed services to protect the country, right?
How'd she do that?
Pure luck.
So what's the question you have to answer in your paper?
The question is, what's fair when it comes to taxes?
Like who should pay?
That's just what it says here. It also says there are 2 criteria that can be used to help decide whether or not a tax is fair. The first way to decide is by looking at benefits received. Benefits received means that people who benefit from our government programs should be the ones to pay for them. For example, those who drive on our highways should pay for their construction and their maintenance.
Jules, you've got this computer thing down.
So what's the second way to decide about whether taxes are fair?
Ability to pay. Ability to pay means that people with different amounts of wealth or different amounts of income should pay different amounts of taxes. Ability to pay can refer to the amount of wealth or income a person has. Those with more wealth or more income would pay a higher amount of taxes than those with less.
Okay, so when we decide what is a fair tax, we look at two criteria: benefits received and ability to pay. That's it. All right, give Jules the car keys. We're out of here.
Slow down, Dweebat. I've got about 2 paragraphs here. Now I'm gonna have to find some examples.
That shouldn't be too hard. I know at least one tax you always notice.
Right, the gasoline tax. It just went up 3 cents.
As for some other examples, I think it's time to play roving reporter.
Huh?
I'm gonna go interview my friends on whether or not they think the new gas tax is fair. But I'm never gonna finish my paper at this rate.
Oh, don't worry, we'll help.
Thanks.
We'll help?
Well, we've got to get more than one interview.
Oh, no, we don't.
Do you want to go to the party tonight or not?
All right, what's the interview on?
Let's see. It says right here, ability to pay can be determined by wealth or income.
Wealth. Okay, you mean like stocks and bonds, furs, jewelry.
Savings accounts, cars, real estate. My mom was talking about that this morning. Property tax. And I know just the person you can interview.
Oh, no, not Mr. Grabowski.
Remember to ask him if he thinks the property tax is fair.
Jules, I thought you were coming too.
I have other work to do.
Actually, the price of gasoline didn't go up. It was the excise tax, and that goes into the highway fund.
Seems fair. We drive on the roads, we ought to pay for them.
Hey, I gotta pay the same amount of tax on gasoline that she does, but she can afford it a lot more. Is that fair?
Thanks. I think I got what I need.
Can I borrow your phone?
Sure. Hello? Oh, hi, Connor. So what is fair? If you judge the gasoline tax according to benefits received, then it's a fair tax. It's used to provide roads and highways and paid for by the people who drive on them. But if you judge the gasoline tax according to ability to pay, then it's a unfair tax. People have to pay the same amount on the gasoline they buy, regardless of their wealth or income. Okay, great. Come on home. So fair is all how you look at it. A tax can be seen as fair or not fair according to your point of view. Now that we have our opinions on the gasoline tax, I wonder how Lynette's doing with Mr. Grabowski.
Fair? I'll tell you about fair. I got the same model house as my dear neighbors, the Madsons, and I pay the same amount of property taxes they do, which goes for building schools for kids like Jules and Connor. But I don't have any kids. Is that fair? I ought to get a property tax break. I don't use those schools.
I understand, Mr. Grabowski. You don't get the same benefits as the Madsons. But my dad says everybody benefits from educated citizens.
Look, your father's entitled to his opinion, but I maintain it's not fair. When I was mayor of the city...
We can see that Lynette's dad and Mr. Grabowski have very different opinions about whether or not the property tax is seen as fair when they look at the benefits received. Now let's see how the property tax rates when we judge it on ability to pay. Oh, Connor is going to love this. If ability to pay is based on wealth, then the property tax is fair. That's because in our state, the property tax on homes is the same for people who have property of equal value. But what about income? People with the same amount of wealth can have different incomes. Maybe we better check in on Mr. Grabowski again.
Okay, there's just one more question. Do you think people's income should be taken into account when paying this tax?
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. Look, I am a man living on a retirement income. My income is a lot less than many of my neighbors, and that's another reason why the property tax is unfair. I should get a property tax break because my income is less.
Thanks, Mr. Grabowski. This has been very helpful.
It has? Well, wait, you don't have to leave on my account. I've got a lot more to say. You know, when I was mayor,
So what have we learned? The property tax can be seen as fair when it's based on wealth. But when it's based on income, the property tax is unfair. It's simple.
Here's the interview. I got it.
I saw. Thanks.
Listen, we're all going over to Stacy's house tonight before the party. Think you can give me a ride?
Sure. I'll pick you up at 6:30.
Cool, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
And that brings us to the final kind of tax we need to take a look at, the income tax. I wonder what's keeping Connor. He should be here by now.
Good luck on your paper.
Thanks. And thanks for running me by the restaurant, even though my paycheck's a real drag after taxes.
It's the same as mine. Everybody pays income tax after they earn a certain amount.
Yeah, but you've got a lot more money than I do.
We work the same hours, we pay the same taxes. What could be fairer?
You get money from that trust fund your grandfather set up, and you don't have to pay taxes on that. So I think it would be a lot fairer if I got less taken out of my paycheck than you. Then we'd be even.
Write your representatives.
Thanks. Pick me up around 7?
See you then.
No hanky-panky.
Come on, Jules, you're eavesdropping again. I'll see you later.
Nobody appreciates me. Where would Connor be in his tax paper right now if it weren't for my supercomputer and brilliant mind?
Jules, you know, you could be a real pain.
Glad you're back. We have to finish our research. Tell me, what are some of the benefits we get from the income tax?
Well, everybody gets some benefits on some government programs, like the courts and the national defense. How'd you do that so fast?
And if taxes such as the income were taken away...
And programs would shut down that everybody now pretty much takes for granted.
Right. Taxes are based on income, not wealth. That's why they
Call it an income tax. I knew that.
People with higher incomes usually pay a larger percentage of their incomes in taxes than people like you with lower incomes.
So if we use income as the measure of ability to pay, then the federal income tax is a fair tax. Cool.
Just call me genius.
Okay, genius. Then what about people with the same income who have different amounts of wealth? And what about when they receive different benefits from government services?
That's a good question. I guess it's all in how you look at it.
It's not a right or wrong answer. It all depends on your point of view on fairness.
Right. Now, when you're writing your paper, just remember, it's all about these 3 questions. What makes a tax fair? How do we measure the fairness of a tax? How can a tax be fair for one person and not another?
Thanks, Pest. You did good.
So will you on your paper. Now, you better hurry up if you want to be ready for your ride at 7.
How'd you know? I know, you were eavesdropping.
See you there. You got everything you need?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll get out of your room in a minute.
And don't...
touch your computer. Now get lost, okay? I gotta figure out how she does this stuff.
Connor, I said don't use my computer.
Is that fair?
The content of Understanding Taxes was developed in cooperation with school and economic education agencies from across the United States and Economics America, the National Council on Economic Education. Understanding Taxes was produced under the supervision of the Agency for Instructional Technology in association with Action Productions Incorporated and Jennifer Naiman Productions. Funding was provided by the Internal Revenue Service.